Hello, everyone. All of us would appreciate to go through life with clarity and with clarity of thinking. And one area, one aspect of clarity and of clarity of thinking is to be fully aware and clear about self. Who truly is me? Who truly is this who we call I? And this is a question that some of us, or maybe many of us, never truly rationalize or properly reflect on. We get born and we kind of grow up with some ideas of self that are largely imposed on us by others, by television, and that unclarity and uncertainty about true self that makes us go through life in a non focused way. And even if we are focused, that focus may not be based on a true understanding of who we are and of what life is all about. Now, for example, one may be focused on their career to achieve certain success in the career, or maybe to achieve certain possessions or earn a lot of money. One may be very focused on that. But if there is not basic clarity and understanding of who the true self is and what life is all about, our focus, our aims, and our goals may be superficial or maybe even flimsy or irrelevant later on in our life, because we did not take into consideration the bigger picture. One of the places I worked at is a geriatrics clinic for many years, and I've seen and been with people who were in the last phase of their life. And what one big lesson for myself was that many people in the last phase of their life, they kind of reflect back on their life. And it often happens that there are things in their life that they pursued that at the end of the life they feel it was a waste or it was not worth it. Or the things that are really important in life I did not pay attention to. And so we are in the privileged condition that we can think ahead. We don't have to wait for the end of the final phase of our life to look back, but let us think ahead. What is truly important in life? And for that, it is absolutely essential to have clarity of who am I. And this spiritual knowledge gives also a very, very clear answer to that. And it is good for us to deeply reflect on it and to play with it, not just for 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes meditation, but during our day-to-day life. Who am I truly? Am I this physical personality called Rona? Am I this body? Am I a female? Those are all physical, tangible, visible things. But spiritual knowledge tells that is all temporary. The real you is a timeless, invisible being of consciousness, an experiencer who uses this body to experience this physical world, an experiencer who uses the eyes to see, who uses this mouth to speak, who uses the ears to hear, who plays this part of a physical personality who is female and of a certain ethnical and cultural background. But the real you is an invisible spiritual being, an experiencer, a being of consciousness who transcends the limitations of this body and of the physical personality. A soul. And a soul or spirit or a being of consciousness, these are all names used for the soul. A soul comes into the physical dimension, comes into the body when it is growing embryo in the womb and gives that energy of consciousness, that life comes into the body. And soul together with body, that becomes a living being and takes birth. And then at the end of life, soul separates from body and the soul goes on. And the soul carries impressions and tendencies with it from one life to another. But the body is left behind. And the body and the part that is played, the female part in this case, that part ends. Rona doesn't go on. But the being of consciousness, the invisible experiencer, travels on and may even take another body or goes back to the invisible dimension, the home of souls. And so the true self, the only self, is this invisible, timeless being of consciousness. And the main characteristic of consciousness is the ability to experience. And consciousness expresses through the body, using the body. But I am not the body. And so when we begin to reflect deeply and begin to understand ourselves as this being of living light, timeless, immortal, then our approach to this life changes also. We have come from the invisible dimension, the dimension of consciousness, and we started to associate with matter and with this body, express, play the game of human life in this physical world. And then at some moment in time, that part finishes. Body disintegrates, is returned to matter, and the being of consciousness goes on. Either goes on to take another body or goes back to the soul world, the home of souls, the dimension of silence and light. And so reflecting on the self, what it means to be a soul. It means to be a traveler through time and space. It means to be a guest in this body on this planet, a guest in this world of matter. It also means we don't really own anything here. And it also means that whatever we associate with here, it is not mine and it cannot be with me forever. Even this body, I'll have to give back to nature. And so the mindset and the attitude of one who is fully aware and clear of the self as a invisible, timeless, spiritual being is one of appreciation, of enjoying every interaction is an extra gift, but not of holding on or getting trapped or stuck or blocked. And within that context, also our choices and our priorities may be different. It is of quality of experience at every moment. It is not about becoming famous or accumulating many things or making other people do what I want. It is not about becoming physically wealthy and then suffering because at some stage I will have to leave it all behind. That doesn't increase the quality of my experience of life. We are here not to collect and accumulate and acquire and possess. We are here to experience, to give, and to share. And so let's take a few moments to, in a more introverted, silent way, reflect on these things and try and grasp that mind that is soul conscious. For a few moments, with determination, bring your thoughts in this moment, right here, right now. And we acknowledge that there are many, many, many things we can think about and focus our attention on. But for this moment, we choose to become aware of this present moment right here, right now. Be aware of the position of the body. Be aware of the atmosphere in the room and some objects around, and there may be some sound or movement. You are aware of all of it. But now also be aware that there is someone who is experiencing all of this. Even the bodily sensations, the visual information, it is experienced by the inner being. By consciousness, the soul. Eyes are just instruments to see, but the one who is seeing is using the eyes. That one is invisible. Mouth is an instrument to speak, but the ideas spoken do not belong to the mouth. They do not even belong to the brain, but they belong to that being of consciousness that uses the brain and uses the mouth. The timeless, immortal soul. And we just use the image of tiny star to indicate the soul. Free, timeless, living light. And within the mind, just try and grasp this. Use that function of discernment to understand that the real self is not this physical image, face and body, but is this invisible living being symbolized by a tiny star of living light, as if sitting behind the eyes. And just fill the mind with this image of tiny star, with the feeling of this is the real self, the soul. Pure, peaceful, timeless, living light. A temporary visitor on this planet, temporary visitor in this body. We are here to play the game of human life, but hold the awareness of being forever conscious, timeless, innately divine, living light. And this whole physical world and the drama of human life is an extra experience, an extra gift. Thank you. And Om Shanti.